Welcome to the Krypton Report podcast. We have with us today James John Stewart Cole, and I am Jonathan Tyler Kyle Rayner Patrick with Levi Hal Jordan. And I never remember how to pronounce his last name correct, and I don't want to butcher it because I'm respecting names. With us in spirit is Logan Alan Scott Smith, Selah Teen Lantern Patrick, Jania Jessica Cruz Patrick, Solomon Simon Baz Patrick, and Brian Gardner Peters. We welcome you to this special Green Lantern episode of the Krypton Report. And in my panel today is the protectors of Sector 2814, Levi, James, and myself. Welcome, guys.
Hey, what's going on,
How's it
fellas?
going?
Yeah, all that intro. That was our core breakdown. I could.
You rehearsed that.
Yeah, and I was
Or
like,
you
wait,
got-
I guess we could do what be Sojourner Mullins be Jamie Sojourner Mullins. Yeah, because I just started reading Joe. But yeah, okay, guys. So since the first Lantern trailer dropped, I was like, you know what? I want to go back and reread Rebirth and everything. I haven't stopped there. I'm 400 issues deep in Green Lantern. So basically, I've read, I think what's cataloged as Volume 3, which is the Bronze Towards Modern Age. No, not the Bronze. I'm trying to remember. But basically, right as Hal Jordan fell, destroyed everything, and Kyle took over. I've pretty much read from there forward. Though I haven't read all of like the core when they split off and did Green Lantern core books, like during the New 52, I've read some of it and some of the
Right.
Jeff Johns era core books just because I was reading just the straight Green Lantern title. But today we're going to talk about just Green Lantern. Now, for those who might not see this, my Green Lantern shirt is in the wash, but I am wearing my Green Lantern ring, which is the prop replica of Guy Gardner from the movie. And I have here in front of me my hand of rings. It's Fred's hand, which back when they did The Blackest Night and they released all the plastic rings in comic book stores, which I still think was one of the smartest things they ever did for marketing, and just made it kind of a thrill to try to collect them all. I have a little prop hand mannequin thing here that I keep them all on. Levi had on his Green Lantern mask, his Hal Jordan hand full of rings. Boom. It's like he's like showing us his Super Bowl rings. Like,
It's a sick collection.
We also have one of my pride and joys. The movie may not be loved, but I do love the lantern design. So,
I do like the lantern design. We had a discussion a few weeks ago when we first saw the prop from Comic-Con for the lantern for the show, and we were talking about the prop from the movie, and then also like the lantern that appears in Stargirl as well. So, Green Lantern we're going to talk about, but let's first I want to say, all right, here's my PowerPoint. First of all, we will not be addressing Alan Scott. I did include him in our core because that is our good pal Logan, who was supposed to be part of us, Logan Smith, the father of Clark, the baby from Krypton. That's his favorite, and he was going to join us but was unable to. But because he's the Golden Age and he's technically more magic based and he doesn't exactly work like the other lanterns and is not part of the core, we are not going to really focus and talk about him. The others kind of come together. So I got this really awesome Green Lantern image right here to start off with. But But just to kind of break it down a little bit, Green Lantern was a comic book character. Alan Scott was created by this guy you may have heard of, Bill Finger. Anybody ever heard of him? Yeah, that's what I thought. We all have.
Sounds familiar.
We all pretty much owe our fandom to Bill Finger. And Martin Nodell, and that was what the Golden Age was. Hal Jordan was later created by John Broome and Gil Kane. And Hal Jordan is part of what him and Barry Allen really birthed the Silver Age. So Hal Jordan was introduced in Showcase number 22, September through October of 1959. So right there. And he was patterned after the Gil Kane's one-time neighbor, Paul Newman. So Hal Jordan has a very long history and is often quoted as being the greatest Green Lantern of all time. So all the Lanterns have a very complicated history, but we're going to talk about as much as we can and just give an overview as we get ready for the show. First, we're going to talk about the Guardians. Guys, let me ask you this question. The Guardians are immortal beings. Usually they're all guys, but then later they were introduced some females through what I'll refer to as Christies, Machinations, and Kyle Rayner. But they are beings that swore off all emotion and chose to harness the emerald light of willpower, being an emotion, but an emotion that isn't natural. It's like an emotion that we have to choose. They felt that was the strongest, and that is why the Green Lanterns are the green, is they are powered by willpower. I know that if I was a lantern, I would not be green because I don't have great willpower. I would be blue. James, what would you be?
Yeah, some days I'd be red.
And that's not
You
just
guys
'cause we're
matching the
red and blue.
names.
Yeah, but I say, and we'll hit on some of those other colors as we go. What about you, Levi? What color do you think you would be if a ring came to you?
Ooh, I'm gonna keep it simple and just go green.
I can see that, and that's not a downplay. I could see that. So no one from work listens to this podcast. I can say this. We were in a very important meeting for work. It wasn't that important, but it was still an important meeting. And we were on Teams, this other coworker and I, and he asked me the question, because my recent meme, because I've just been really getting beat down at work, has been the scene from Justice League War, where he's like, step back, guys, watch the light show. Green Lanterns got this. And he flies off to fight Darkseid, and Darkseid just throws him against a building. He falls, and then two parademons beat him up. That's kind of been my feeling. And I've just kind of been sharing that meme. And I sent that to my friend at work, and then he goes, dude, all of our colleagues here at work, what corps do you think they would be? So we just sat there for the rest of the meeting on Teams and sorted all of
The different teams into different Lantern Corps.
yes, all of our coworkers into what Lantern Corps they would be.
And this is how Tyler finds out his coworkers do secretly listen to his podcast and support.
Yeah, I'll get the message tomorrow. What color am I, Tyler? Oh, let me pull out this list. But the Guardians swore off their emotion, and they have a whole story in themselves and stuff at times. And at times, I'm not a huge fan of the Guardians. I think they come off more as phallic-shaped objects than real nice people.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say tiny little phallic-shaped objects.
Yeah. James, thoughts on phallic-shaped objects that are blue?
No.
But it's interesting because none of them have names, but they all have names they've just forgotten. And Ganthet is really the first one that like remembers who he is and like, basically like, I was Ganthet and at one point all of them died except Ganthet, and then Kyle Rayner brought them all back. I introduced us at the beginning, based on a conversation we had all had previously of who our favorite lanterns were, so that we could all represent like our favorite personal lantern. That's why, James is John Stewart and Levi is Hal Jordan, and I'm Kyle Rayner.
I'm pretty sure we all in that conversation even said we each had a different favorite. So
Yeah, that's what made it so easy to do this. I was like, yes. So now we're going to go kind of in an order that I constructed, but not exactly. So Volthoom was the first lantern, and he was powered by what we called the Phantom Ring. He was a space traveler that landed in the Guardians, and they experimented on the energies and made him the first lantern, which is a very interesting story to read. It appears in Jeff Johns' run, and then later it appears in Rebirth. So after Volthoom, and this is important to the show, is the Guardians create the Manhunters, which are basically robots that have special abilities that are responsible for the destruction of Sector 666, which is the homeworld of Atrocitus, the leader of the Red Lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
And they can shapeshift, and this is what was alluded to in the most recent trailer for the series. Now, 2814 is Earth. The Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, that's Earth Sector.
The first is Hal Jordan. Here we go. Woo woo. Now, like I said, we're going to be jumping around a little bit because later in the comics and what I'm currently reading is you learn that Earth and several other planets are very special because of they breed heroes and bring forth positive. I can't remember the term that was used there. I read it last night, but they bring forth heroes and they bring forth a certain kind of energy in the galaxy. And the Green Lantern Corps was protecting those, Earth being one. That's why there's so many Green Lanterns that have come from Earth. And then the other was Krypton. Now, does anyone remember the Green Lantern that was assigned to protect Krypton?
Somewhere right.
Yes. Yes, it was. And as much as we talk about how Jeff Johns' run on Green Lantern, I really have to give a shout out to Robert Venditti because his Green Lantern, I mean, he picked up right after Jeff Johns and wrote through the New 52 and then did the Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps in Rebirth. And it was been an amazing read. So, but here is every animated version of Hal Jordan. He has appeared in live action twice in the Ryan Reynolds film, which is not as bad as people say it is. Actually, he's appeared 3 times in live action. The Legends of the Superpowers, the Ryan Reynolds film, and then in the upcoming Lanterns TV series. He has been represented in video games such as Injustice, Injustice 2, the online DC games, the Lego universe, the DC universe versus Mortal Kombat. He has been in the DC Superhero Girls. He has been in Teen Titans Go. I love Jason Fabok. Both versions as DC Superheroes. And then this is my college friend right here in the corner, Mark Justice, who did a fan film for Green Lantern called Secret Origins. You can find on YouTube. It's like 5 minutes long. But his suit was praised online for it. But Hal Jordan has a very interesting history as being the first Earth Green Lantern. In the current comics, he doesn't have a ring per se. He turned into basically pure will energy and willed his own ring into creation. and his ring is him and he is his ring kind of thing. He is pure will energy, which is pretty awesome. At one point in the comics, though, he was possessed by Parallax, which we'll talk about is a fear-based energy entity that corrupted him and drove him insane. And he was evil for a little bit, died, and then was rebirthed. And I say rebirthed instead of reborn because rebirth is a very specific word that was used in comics. Thoughts on Hal Jordan, my friends?
Well, I'll go real quick so Levi can talk. It's his favorite. I mean, you know, Hal Jordan is my second favorite Green Lantern. You know, he's been in just about. I mean, look at this. Like he's all over the place. You know, he's and yeah, like we said, and in the comics, the Guardians and stuff have called him the best Green Lantern that ever was and supposed to be ever will be. He's just it's just like his mantle to kind of like carry and resurrect and whatnot sometimes. So I cannot wait to see Kyle Chandler playing Hal Jordan.
I know. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. It's great. Levi, your
Well,
thoughts?
I mean, compared, you know, with the last trailer and even the you know the one before that where he was like, one of them's even a talking squirrel. Like
Yeah.
with this one, we've got the Manhunters. They're on different planets, all kinds of different things. Like they're really definitely leaning into the space cop thing about it. You know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't seem like it's going to be 100% on Earth, and that's really cool. I think they are leaning into the comic bookness of it, even though it seems very like hard lined and like a gritty realistic look, you know.
Mm-hmm. I watched the scene today that's like an interrogation scene between Hal and another person, and it was really cool because it was like he was playing like bad cop and he was asking questions. It was it's gonna be really good. Levi, your
Cool.
thoughts on Hal?
The way I always start with Hal, like when people want to talk about him who don't know anything about the Green Lantern stuff, Hal's the guy who tells a joke, gets the girl, and punches someone in the face. He can do it all. He's a test pilot, which comes with an inherent bit of swagger. I think, to me, what makes Hal so entertaining is like Hal's a deeply flawed person. I think so many superheroes, they're either deeply flawed or they're like morally perfect. And Hal is like the definition of just a dude. Like the Ring prior to the current, iteration, the Ring is what powers him. He doesn't have super strength. He can't fly without the Ring. There's, some of the best stuff in the comics is Sinestro blows up Hal's fighter jet when they first meet, thinking he has the ring on, and Hal just starts falling because Hal refuses to wear it when he flies. So Hal is just that like badass guy in the comics who's just full swagger and energy and
Cocky.
arrogance.
Yeah.
Without being like Guy Gardner levels of it.
Now, well, yeah, we're gonna get there.
We'll get to Guy.
What's important about Hal is Hal Jordan is fearless. And he has made himself fearless. He doesn't feel fear. That's why he was chosen. And there's psychologically something to say about someone who doesn't feel fear and how they can actually be very dangerous, because fear is a natural response of warning, of safety, and alertness. But Hal is fearless. And once we do all four of the mains, I'll read you a really cool comic book quote. So after Hal Jordan, I think I did these backwards. Yeah. Came Guy Gardner. Now, Guy Gardner has been in live action and animation. his first live action appearance was in the 1997 unaired Justice League pilot, where he was Guy Gardner, but he was more Hal Jordan, but Guy in the name because Guy was predominantly Green Lantern at the time. He's been in the Lego universe. He was on Batman the Brave and the Bold. That was the Lantern that was there. He is also in the 20 was it hold on, the year I can't remember, 2012 Green Lantern animated series, voiced by Diedrich Bader as Guy, which made him he was kind of like, his guy was like the Nathan Fillion guys, where like you find someone that people love to be someone they hate, so there is a built-in softness. But currently Guy Gardner is played by Nathan Fillion, the lovable Nathan Fillion in the current DC universe. Now, I will say Guy is extremely arrogant. He is more asshole, dickish. And I'm saying that as a kind word. He is very much more brute, blunt, arrogant, rude, self-centered, but he is like the person you want in a fight. There are so many jokes that are made about Guy Gardner, like through other characters. Like when I was reading Rebirth, and you have Simon and Jessica, and they're talking to the Justice League, and they make comments about Guy. It's hilarious. I'd sent you guys some of those before.
The Young Justice, when they're asking for potential Justice League members, and they say, "Well, there's another Green Lantern from Earth," and both Hal and John yell no.
So yeah, Guy came from an abusive childhood. His dad beat on him, and I have not got to read the comic where Guy was introduced, as I was trying to finish forward before going too far back. But he's also kind of the butt of jokes when it comes to Green Lanterns, because he is such a jerk, and the haircut. But Guy Gardner. Comments, James, Levi, fellow Lanterns.
That haircut should be against your vows.
My haircut, what?
So
Yeah.
I love Guy, though. Guy's such a fun character, and he's grown a lot, particularly in the Jeff Johns era, which, just purely out of curiosity with you guys, do you prefer the origin where he was a high school PE teacher or a cop?
I kind of like the PE teacher because it's so random.
It also completely checks out for his personality too, though.
Yeah, like someone who like has no authority but acts like they're the ultimate authority. I feel like being a cop and then becoming a Green Lantern space cop is like almost a 1-to-1 thing, where you're like, okay, then why isn't every cop a Green Lantern, or every Green Lantern? You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like the high school PE teacher.
I mean, yeah, it's fun. I think that as a job, just it makes him a little more normal, in that sense. That anybody with that willpower and that ability to overcome fear could be a Green Lantern, kind of like an artist or an architect.
I see what you did there. No, if you're wanting to get into Guy Gardner, even though the show's not about him, I'd highly recommend the animated Green Lantern show. Because
Diedrich Bader was really good.
Yeah, he's not in it a ton, but Diedrich Bader is so good as Guy Gardner, and they do a lot of really funny stuff with Guy and talking down to Hal, and like Guy playing it up for the media on Earth. It's great stuff. It's a great intro to Guy.
I also like how Guy's suit, the Lanterns create their suits almost like a construct. I like how it's like a sleeveless jacket. It's so different than what Hal's is.
It also makes sense for the PE teacher, giving off
Yes.
the I peaked in high school vibes.
Yes. And that's my headcanon for Fillion's guy. We're supposed to learn about his past in Lanterns, how he became a lantern. But right now that's my headcanon, is that he's the PE teacher.
That would be hysterical.
You said I've liked what they did with Guy in the Jeff Johns era, but also I really like what Robert Venditti did with him in his books. So it actually made me like Guy more. So
Yeah,
all
my
right.
first introduction to Guy was just the death of Superman. And he wasn't even a lantern then. Was he called Warrior?
Yeah. So the next one, the one that we all grew up with basically, is John
Yeah,
Stewart,
the third Green Lantern from Earth.
who has appeared in video games, live action, and animation. Now, John Stewart, we have pictures here of where he was in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, which is what we both grew up with, even though, and we'll get to the other one, was different. He's an alternate skin in Injustice 2. He's on the DC Online video games. He has an alternate skin in Injustice as well. Aaron Pierre will be playing John Stewart in Lanterns the series. He is in Young Justice, Beware My Power, which was a Tomorrowverse film, and Teen Titans Go. He was to be played by Wayne T. Carr if he was put in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was the original plan. There's an image here because, you got to represent. And then technically, John Diggle was a version of John Stewart in Arrow that we never actually got to see put on a ring, but it was alluded to that he was Green Lantern, and yes.
Or that he received that ring at the end of the series.
John Stewart's also famously known for not wearing a mask. He didn't want to cover his face. He wanted to be known and everyone to see who he was. His origin is they've kind of done a really good thing where they've kind of retconned that, like, he was a military Marine sniper that when he got out of the service became an architect. Because there was originally he was an architect, and then he was in the military, and they've kind of blended them together. But I like that John is very the military man, the tactician that takes orders, gives orders. It gives him a nice little, spot in distinguishes him from the other lanterns.
I think it also gives him a bit of, and I'm thinking of a specific moment of like the ability to make the tough choices under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of when he blew up Ego, or not Ego, the planet
Mogo?
Mogo. Yep, and he called on his military sniper background and channeled the Black Lantern energy and blew up a planet.
Or no, was that... No, the planet he blew up.
He was responsible for the destruction of Sandor.
Yeah, it starts with an X.
Oh, he blew up Mogo too. War of Light, or no, War of the Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he killed Mogo.
Oh, wow.
I will say this:
Mogo is a living planet who is a Green Lantern.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
He is currently the home base of the Lanterns.
Yeah, he's basically Oa now.
Yeah, Oa being the planet that the Guardians are from, that they work out of. There is more drama and traumatic melodrama stories in Green Lantern comics than watching daytime soap operas. There is so, dude, I'm telling you, if you just keep reading it straight, you'll just be like, dear Lord, we have powers. We don't have powers. We've lost the light. We have to regain the light. There's someone challenging us. We must fight them. Oh no, we have no home. I mean, it is something.
That's funny. I mean, yeah, John Stewart. He's like my favorite Lantern. Like I said, closely seconded by Hal. But growing up with him on Justice League, I really loved the way that the character grew from Justice League to Justice League Unlimited. Um, he definitely became more of a leader within the Justice League and giving orders to people. Uh, I always like the architect angle, and then I mean that was basically it was it was nearly the same time or the result of the animated series, which gave him like his marine background.
Yeah.
Um, that it was kind of there were some other things in his past. He was written came out in December and January 71, 72. So Black Heroes being written at the time, there was a lot of the Black Panther Society and the civil rights stuff. So he definitely um, had a foot in that world during his early days.
Mm-hmm.
But he used even recently, what was it, Scott Snyder's Justice League, where he got an ultraviolet ring,
Yep.
something that worked above all the rest of the spectrum.
He was part of the compassion, which is the purple. We didn't mention Guy Gardner at one point got a red ring, which was Rage, and he was a Red Lantern for a while. Now, Green Lanterns, we didn't say this, make light constructs, which are whatever they can think they can use the energy to create with their ring. The ring has been called the greatest weapon in the universe. It's a weapon that moves at the speed of thought. And John's architecture background gives him a different idea on his constructs. Like, you see Guy a lot of times, his constructs are sports equipment and more, manly things. Let's see, one that he did the other day I read was a monster truck. Hal's have been more like aerial, Navy, or not Navy, Air Force, planes, things like that. John's are different things because he's a builder, he's an architect. So, and then that brings us to Kyle Rayner, the fourth Earth Green Lantern, who's only appeared in animation, which is sad. Because this is what we grew up with in comics more. Because he came at the end in 94, which I just got to meet Daryl Banks and get an autograph from the artist, Daryl Banks, who created Kyle. He was his big thing was Kyle Rayner was all the lanterns had been destroyed. They'd lost their rings, the power. There was one ring the Guardians were able to make, and Ganthet headed to Earth, found Kyle, and said, "You'll have to do," and gave him the ring, and he was the only Green Lantern. Kyle later would become what's called the Torchbearer, because it's because of Kyle. He relights the power battery on Oa of all the lanterns, and he brings back the Guardians, and he has his key was John Stewart, Hal Jordan, and Guy Gardner were fearless, but Kyle's thing was he was able to overcome great fear, and that was where it changed. It wasn't anymore about being fearless. It was about being able to overcome fear. And I mean, there's a whole beautiful, like, if you want to dive deep into lore, the Green Lanterns are so full of it because what was Green Lantern's weakness, guys?
Yellow.
The color yellow.
And we find out that the color yellow is the Green Lantern's weakness because the embodiment yellow entity of Parallax was imprisoned inside the central Green Lantern power battery. So it was connected to all of their rings. Once Parallax was freed from that, their rings could fight yellow. Now, each lantern carries a lantern. Levi showed us his amazing prop from the film. And that is connected to the power battery on Oa. And you recite the oath that we recited at the beginning of this episode. And you connect your ring to the lantern and it charges. But Kyle was the one that we were first introduced in animation because Kyle was the one that appeared on Superman the Animated Series. But it wasn't, and this is the problem with poor Kyle, it wasn't Kyle's story. It was Hal Jordan and Kyle's story mixed together. Because he starts to become an amalgam character when they translate it into, animation and everything. We've never really gotten a great representation of Kyle because he's only briefly seen like in the background as part of things. His one big spot was on Superman the Animated Series, and it was him and Hal's story blended together.
Yeah.
Now,
Which,
Kyle,
besides the faded memories of Super Friends, Kyle Rayner was first Green Lantern that stuck. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle, I think Kyle's fun. One, he's trying to think of how to say it. He later on becomes the White Lantern. He embodies all the different emotions. But he's also an artist, so his constructs are fun.
Yes.
And also, his Green Lantern suit is, I think, the best Green Lantern suit of the human ones. The old school white and black.
Well, I think that works because once you just said he's an artist where he's creative. He comes up with something. Hal's is very much just a military uniform. So is John's. Guy's has that little flair of, gym coach. But Kyle, he's got gauntlets and a real mask,
His mask,
the suit designed for the contrast.
And also, his run is Ion too, where he absorbed the.
Oh my gosh, dude!
It's so good.
He's basically and this is the thing. He basically has the power of unlimited everything, and he realizes he could do all this as Ion, but then he basically realizes this is too much power for one person to have, and he uses the power when he is Ion to go and restart the central battery to bring back the Lantern Core.
I mean, he's borderline a god.
Yes. Yes. Because he even shows up Superman a couple of times. It was pretty awesome. I had to admit, it was hilariously awesome.
That's one hope. If they do a full-on Green Lantern universe this time inside the DCU, we've got to get Kyle. Because Kyle, you can make him younger than the other guys. He can be fun.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing. If you're gonna do, Hal Jordan 60s, right? We'll say Guy Gardner's what? Nathan Fillion's what, in his 50s?
Yeah, 50s.
I'd say in the movie, I'd put him in his 40s.
Okay, and then you have John, who's in his early 30s. So you bring in some 21-year-old Kyle Rayner, I think would be awesome.
Just as long as they don't bring any of his girlfriends.
Yeah, there's no refrigerators around.
No fridge.
Yeah,
Keep Kyle away from
we don't need fridge, and we don't need to fridge any girlfriends.
So Kyle is 94. Then we get to the New 52 and we're introduced to Simon Baz, who's yet to cross over into anything. He was created by Jeff Johns. He is a Lebanese Muslim from Detroit. Um, and Simon's a really cool character. His ring, what makes it interesting is his ring was actually created by Sinestro himself. So it was tethered to the Green Lanterns, but at the time when everything was going crazy, because we had Blackest Night, then into Lights Out, into the first Lantern, which led us to the New 52. Because in the New 52, Green Lantern didn't really change. We just added Simon. And, he's got a family. The neat thing is Simon gets a partner. Rebirth is really where you get the best Simon stories. He gets tethered to a partner. And that's really where the character grew, was in the Rebirth Green Lantern book. But he has yet to make the translation to any other media.
I think I'm a huge fan of the Jeff Johns run. I've got the entire run on the shelf behind me here. And I like Simon. I think this is the one misstep, and it's because of the art. I think, and I remember at the time people being upset. It's a little stereotypical. His introduction is a little stereotypical.
Being accused of being a terrorist.
Yeah, and then immediately getting a ring and generating a balaclava for a mask.
Yeah.
I think that's what stopped Simon from appearing in other media.
Yeah, I can see. I know that later on, he's working with another lantern I'll talk about, and the mask isn't as prevalent. I think you could get rid of the black hood and just kind of do the mask, the green part here with the black around the eyes, and it might help change up his appearance. Now, the next Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz. Now, Jessica Cruz has got transferred to a lot because she's the first, if you haven't noticed, female Earth Green Lantern. Now, this is probably my second favorite Lantern. I really like Jessica's story. Like I said, reading those Rebirth books, Jessica was full of fear. And during the Trinity War comics, this is where it gets a little convoluted, but basically, the guys, why can't I think today? Help me out, James.
Power Ring.
Power Ring is from Crime Syndicate.
Yep.
When they come from Earth 3, Power Ring is killed. And Power Ring is like a Green Lantern, but full of fear and uses fear, and the ring controls him. That ring then latched onto Jessica Cruz because she had been witness to her friends being murdered in front of her, and she was unable to do anything. And she had PTSD. She was locked inside her house. And then eventually she overcame and fought the fear of Power Ring's ring, and it was actually possessed by Volthoom from Volthoom on that Earth.
It's Earth 3.
It's a whole convoluted story, but basically, Volthoom was cast to Earth 3. His ring became the first Power Ring, and she expunged him out of it and rose as a Green Lantern. She was later partnered with Simon Baz, and they were partners together, learning, and actually shared a lantern, and they had to recharge at the same time together. She has been appearing in the Ruby series, both versions of Superhero Girls. She was in Lego. She appeared in the Justice League animated film versus the Fatal Five, which is a great Jessica storyline. She was the Green Lantern that appeared in Super Pets, and now she will be the Green Lantern that appears in My Adventures with Green Lantern, because we saw a young Jessica Cruz in My Adventures with Superman Season 3.
Yes, sir.
And her one thing represent like this one doesn't do it, and this one doesn't either. Is her mask is really not really a mask, but it's like the lantern symbol over her eye, her right eye, which gives her that little bit of definition. Now, years ago, Jessica Cruz was the one that I kind of championed for to be brought into the Justice League films. That way, there would be another woman on the Justice League team instead of being all dudes and just Wonder Woman. I was like, just bring in Jessica, to the movies, and if you have to kind of make her an amalgamized version of different lanterns to make it work or whatever. But she was the one that I wanted to see, and I don't foresee it being long till she makes the jump to live action somewhere.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I think because she's a female and she's so popular. I mean, look how much she's appeared in animation
already since like what 2013.
Yeah,
Is that when she came out?
That feels about right. It's a little over 10 years. I mean, the New 52 started 11. Yeah, I'd say about 2013, 2014-ish. I'd have to go back and check the actual, when that was. But okay, now the next one is Sojourner Mullins. I just started reading some Green Lantern with her. I haven't finished her book where she really was featured, which was Far Sector. She's a bisexual character. That's part of like her origin, so that's why I bring it up. It's part of her history, and she is what's called like a great investigator. She's specifically chosen by the Guardians to be a Green Lantern, and she goes out to the Far Sector, but where they don't have jurisdiction to do investigation. The book that I was just finished reading was a short run of 12 issues of Green Lantern, where Joe comes and interacts when the Lanterns join the United Planets, and basically none of them know who she is because none of them have met her, because she was chosen by the Guardians and sent out into far space. So, you guys have any experience with Joe?
That's about it. Kind of where she comes back and interacts with them. She has a little interaction with Teen Lantern. Nobody kind of knows what she is, and that's right before the Lanterns lose, like the power battery blows up.
Yep.
And she still has powers because her ring was made different or something. That's about it.
Levi?
No experience with her.
Teen Lantern, Kelly Quintella, if I'm saying that correct. I hope I am. She was created by the great Bendis. We all know my beef with Bendis.
The great Bendis. I love how you say that sarcastically.
She appeared in Young Justice. She built her gauntlet. She got it from an alien, but then like recalibrated, and it's much like Krona's gauntlet. Krona's gauntlet was a green powered. Basically, it taps into the green energy. It doesn't work exactly like a ring, but it's very similar. But it's a gauntlet with a powered back battery. Hal Jordan had at the end of the New 52, when they did the DCYOU, he had Krona's gauntlet and went off as a rogue, where he didn't have his ring or anything, but he used the gauntlet. So I'm not really familiar with Teen Lantern as much. She's only 11, but she calls herself Teen. That's what's hilarious. But yeah, she's new in the Lanterns. So, you guys have any experience with Teen Lantern here?
Mostly the Young Justice run, and then that early part of the what was that? Was that DC Universe, or was I think that was DC Universe after they did the after they stopped doing the rebirth and everything.
Yep. It just shifted to DC Universe. Levi,
I think that's about when it was.
I skipped out on Teen Lantern.
It's okay, not missing much. I have no experience with Ty Fam here. I was just doing some research, and it was Green Lantern Legacy, and I just thought I'd include him because it's there. But I have no experience with anything with him.
Definitely looks like either a manga or anime version.
So now touch on the other cores quickly. We have the White Lanterns, which represent life, and they have their own oath. We have the Pink, which is love, the Star Sapphires. All lanterns have their own oaths, and I am not going to read all of them. The Compassion Lanterns, which are the tribe, the Indigo tribe. The Blue Lanterns, my OGs. The Hope, St. Walker. Green Lanterns, which is will. Yellow is fear. Orange is avarice, which is greed. And there's only one lantern, which is Larfleeze. Rage is red. And then death is black.
Feel like
Now,
we could do a whole episode on Larfleeze.
yeah, we could. And
Larfleeze is great.
what's funny is the power is mine, this light is mine. Is like he has his own oath, but he also has it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Like
I thought that was the oath.
It is. It is the oath, and then that's what's hilarious. So, and then now, in more recent comics, because they did Fractured Spectrum, we now have the Gray Lantern of Sorrow. The Gray Lantern was actually the fiance of Carol Ferris, who on their wedding day left him because Hal Jordan came back, and his emotional sorrow for what he felt spilled into his wedding ring, creating the Gray Lantern ring.
Damn it, Hal.
Yeah. And so what did we learn? A lot. But that's kind of an overview of like the lanterns is the lanterns are police
That Hal
cops
Jordan is like the Tony Stark of the Green Lanterns.
Yes. Now, this is what I wanted to read. It says, Guy Gardner, he steps into the line of fire, accepts bad things are going to happen, so he makes sure they happen to him instead of anyone else. The beating he takes will bruise your eyes for watching. Then there's Kyle. He just wants to do right. Simple as that, to help people. John Stewart is patient, meticulous, makes a plan and waits until the best moment to strike. His will is about restraint. I don't get that guy at all. And then Hal says, I don't lose. So don't tell me about conclusions. And another thing, it may just be me going after Sarko. Oh, that's because he was talking about the issue. But yeah, Hal's like, I'm the guy that doesn't lose. That's a nice way of kind of seeing the different who these lanterns are, you know?
Yeah. Lanterns are cool. Lanterns are incredibly powerful. There's a podcast that I listen to. They kind of retired their dual thing. They don't do that anymore. They did their podcast for about 10 years and now they don't do it anymore. It's just kind of a comic book movie review show as it is now. But they did a number of episodes of Green Lanterns versus a bunch of different characters. It was Marvel versus DC. So they did, I think one of them was they did a Sinestro, Yellow Lantern Sinestro versus Magneto. And they've done all kinds of them. They did Chip versus hell, I don't know. It was another animal from Marvel. It was one of their holiday special ones that was fun. But every time a lantern came up, you know what I mean? You basically knew it was going to come out lantern in the end because it's the most powerful weapon in the universe.
It's definitely a line of comics. If you haven't read a lot of Green Lantern, find the Jeff Johns run. Start with Rebirth and Secret Origins, and then if you just want to read Green Lantern, go for it. There's Green Lantern Corps, so you can get Guy and John. There's New Guardians for Kyle. I mean, And
Yeah,
there's
for a long time they've done multiple Green Lantern books at the same time, like a Green Lantern Corps.
and
So
that's one thing like I wanted to touch on is because we're going into this show is when you go back and you read the Kyle stories, there is no core. It's just Kyle, and a lot of it is just him on Earth doing stuff. And it's not till he starts the core again, and now the books are so much all about the core, the core, the core. Um, it gets a little redundant and a little, much. Uh, but it is interesting because, like I was saying, my reading is, um, I read some like the modern core book, been reading it, and um, I need to go back and read more of the core during the Jeff Johns era and the new Guardian stuff because there's a lot going on in that latter into the New 52 part of the Green Lanterns. And I mean, I'm not tired of it. Like I said, I'm like 400 issues in of Green Lantern reading, and I'm not really tired of the characters. There's
there's
a lot.
great villains. The side characters, if you want to call them that, Kilowog, Chip,
That's what I was going to bring up. Is
Boudica, like they're all so interesting and so different.
there are like Kilowog is definitely one, and Kilowog was seen dead in a flash forward scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Toma Ray is another more famous Green Lantern.
and they
And
were
I mean,
both played brilliantly by Jeffrey Rush and Michael Clark Duncan back in 2011.
say what you want about the Ryan Reynolds film, okay? But Kilowog, Sinestro, and Toma Ray are not problems with that movie at all.
Oh no, no, the movie has its problems, but honestly, I mean, and its missteps, and they tried to go like too big, too fast, especially in the Green Lanterns and whatnot. But um, I enjoy watching that movie. I've seen it at least probably half a dozen times.
We Levi and I were talking about it. Like I'm looking forward to rewatching it this upcoming weekend with the kids.
I'm,
So
Mark Strong as Sinestro,
perfect.
Oh,
maybe
perfect.
it's your comic book casting. It's I forget the name of the actor who's playing him in the TV show, but man, that sucks because Mark Strong is so good
Yeah,
as
he's got a lot to live up to. Not not many, not all, even heroes, but not all heroes, and especially not all villains. Especially in comic books, we know the villain problem when it comes to the movies and everything. Um, so when it comes to films and television, villains like you can expect some lacking, but like man, yeah, Mark Strong is one of the best as Sinestro.
Mark Strong is an amazing actor. Anything he's in, I'm like, I'll watch. Um, so we could do an entire podcast series on the lanterns. I wanted to do an overview just as we're going into Lanterns, the show. We've already got teases for the Manhunters. We know that they've referenced Badge. We have 3 Earth based lanterns. Uh, so, we have a lot coming from the series. And we have, what do you call it? We know that one Guardian's at least supposed to be there. So yeah, I'm excited for there. Is there
I
you know
hope that the Guardians are blue.
yes.
I hope we get something comic accurate because I know we saw her in the trailer and that she was not blue.
Well, I just they can use stuff to make themselves appear normal. So I'm just gonna go with that at the moment. But I do want at least one shot of her as the blue classic look. We've talked about before on the podcast how in the New 52 era, Supergirl did become a Red Lantern, and that was a big deal. So, yeah, Are you guys ready for some lanterns to light up some of that willpower?
I,
Heck yeah,
I'm
man.
still-
What are we, a week away?
Yeah.
A week,
Basically.
just about, what is it, 7-8 days away from
Yeah.
the time of recording now?
Just about. We're under 2 weeks. This coming Sunday will mark 1 week. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I'm rushing it. I'm trying.
You're too
Okay.
excited.
Yeah, it drops a little later in the month. Reacher
Yeah.
drops next week. Lanterns drops the week after that.
Yeah. I have to put that in my calendar and stuff so I don't forget. But any final thoughts, guys, before we get out of here about good old lanterns?
Like
No,
I said,
sir. I think we covered them pretty good.
my only thing, and because this is Green Lantern was my first comic book obsession. If you haven't read it, give it a shot. There's literally a Lantern series for just about anything you could be interested in. So
And I think that's what's so great about the lanterns is it's not like if you're like, man, I really don't like Guy. That's okay. There's another lantern. You know, like there's a lantern that each like we all picked a different favorite one because that it kind of appeals to each one of us. So there's a different lantern that can connect you and how you feel and what you see. So it's definitely a book worth checking out. That's one of the beauties of having the DC app is just being able to sit down and read some Green Lantern. So I hope everyone will take time. So, any other thoughts? All right, I think it's time to get out of here and go patrol our sectors. Let's get going.
All right.